Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. In today's video, I will give you something very special. It will help you very well about the direction, all right, about the storyline. So let's do a quick recap for what we have learned, and then I will show you the content of today's video, right? So as we learned, the classic storyline started from a fresh level, all right? Let's take this V shape like an example, all right? This is a V-shape level weekly, reject weekly right here, right? So let's put our vertical line on weekly touch and then switch to the 4-hour time frame, all right? We said we use the weekly time frame with the 4-hour breakout for the weekly storyline, all right? For the weekly storyline. So the weekly touch is our fresh weekly level right here, all right? So where is the last A shape that created before the touch? It's this A shape level, all right? So after this bullish breakout in the 4-hour time frame, then we can say we have a bullish weekly storyline started, all right? We said we had a bullish weekly storyline started. This way, it's from the classic storyline, all right? The normal classic storyline. So let's see another example because I want to show you how to deal with some special cases when we find it in the market, right? So this was the first example. Let's take another example. What about this? This is a weekly reject weekly, right? Now let's put our vertical line on this weekly touch and then switch to the 4-hour time frame for our breakout. Now our weekly touches our fresh weekly right here. So where is the last A shape that created before the touch? It's this A shape level, right? This is the last A shape level that created before the touch. Now after this bullish 4-hour breakout, we can say we had a bullish weekly storyline started from this fresh weekly level, right? So let's and as we said, the weekly storyline cannot start only from a fresh weekly levels, all right? So if we don't have a fresh weekly levels, there is no storyline on the weekly, all right? But this, when we use the classic storyline, all right, the simple way for identifying the storyline, all right? What I will show you today, it's when you don't have any fresh weekly level or a daily level, but you still have a weekly or a daily storylines, all right? And for this technique, we will use something called advanced storyline, all right? The advanced storyline, it's something special. It will give you the advantage for early entries or early identifying for the storylines, all right? And as we learn, the classic storyline starts and ends from a fresh SNR levels, all right? Start and ends from a fresh SNR levels. But the advanced storyline starts and ends on a trend lines, all right? That is the difference between the classic storyline and the advanced storyline. The classic storyline starts and ends on an SNR fresh levels, all right? But the advanced storyline starts and ends on a trend lines, all right? So let's see what is the trend lines and how we can draw these trend lines, all right? So in the trend lines, we have three main types of trend lines, all right? And I chose to call it a bearish and a bullish trend lines for more understanding of these trend lines and how it works, all right? So let's start with the first type of trend lines. There is the reversal trend lines. And in the trend lines, we had a bearish reversal trend lines, and we had a bullish reversal trend line, all right? And in these trend lines, we only need the third touch from each trend line, all right? We only need the third touch from each trend line. Let's yeah, all right. As we said, there is a bearish reversal trend line and there is the bullish reversal trend line. All right, the trend line have 3 points. All right, and we only take the third point, and sometimes we take the fourth point. All right, the fourth point from each trend line, from each type of trend line. We will see this example later. So the second type from the trend lines is the bearish outer trend line, all right? And there is the bullish outer trend line also. And the last type that we use on our advanced storyline is the break and retest trend line. In the break and retest trend line, there is the bearish break and retest trend line, and also the bullish break and retest trend line, all right? And inside these two types, there is also another two types inside the break and retest trend line. There is the type that have 1 point before the break and retest, all right? So had 1 point after the breakout. There is 2 points for our third point, all right? And there is another type when we have 2 points before the breakout, all right? Before the breakout, and the third point in the retest one. In the bullish break and retest trend line, it's also have two types. There is the type when we have 1 point before the breakout, and then when we have 2 points before the breakout. All right. So let's see how we can use these trend lines for our advanced storyline. All right. I will give you just a glimpse from the advanced storyline. I will give you what will help you with the classic storyline. All right. So what I will give you, you can mix it with the classic storyline that we have learned to get a better result and to be good in when you identify the storylines. All right. So, for example, in we are now in the weekly time frame. All right, we are in the weekly chart. For example, right here, we don't have any fresh level that the price that this bearish candle reacted from. All right, there is no fresh weekly level that this bearish candle rejected from. All right, and because there is a bullish candle that covered this bearish candle, all right, and there is no fresh weekly level right here for a weekly reject weekly, all right, there is no weekly, all right, but in this case in this case you cannot use the classic storyline that we have learned, all right, but here you can use the advanced storyline, all right, here you can use the advanced storyline. For example, what do we have here? We have this break and retest trend line, all right? This type, it's 2 points before the breakout, all right? So this type, it's bullish break and retest trend line, all right? So we need this touch in our bullish break and retest trend line, all right? Let me show you this. So in the classic storyline, we said we have our weekly fresh level, all right? And with the weekly fresh level, we use the 4-hour external breakout, all right? Remember this, guys. In the weekly storyline or on the daily or the monthly, with the classic storyline, we only use the external breakout, right? The external breakout. What we mean by the external breakout is the last A or the last V shape that created before the touch. All right. In this case, we can say that we have a bullish weekly storyline or a weekly bearish storyline. And we said if we don't have any external bullish breakout, so we don't have any bullish weekly storyline, all right? But when we used the advanced storyline, for example, we had this, our weekly trend line, all right? The trend line acts like a support. So if the price is above the trend line, this trend line will act like a support and it will push the price up. And if the price is under the trend line, so this trend line will act like this resistance SNR levels and it will push the price down, all right? So what you have to do, there is a difference between the classic storyline and the advanced storyline. In the classic storyline, we only take the external breakout, but in the advanced storyline, we can take the internal breakout, right? This is the difference between them. So if the price goes under our trend line and then we had a bullish for our breakout, we can say we had a bullish weekly advanced storyline started from this weekly trend line, all right? And sometimes you will had like sometimes the price will do this, all right? This example, it's also valid for the bullish weekly storyline, all right? It's the same with the daily storyline. If you don't have any, let's say this is the daily time frame, not the weekly. It's the same. If you don't have any fresh daily that the candle rejected from, you can use the trend lines for your storyline, all right? And I will show you later also how the storyline also ends on these trend lines, all right? And how you can take these trend lines as a TP, all right? So let's continue. We said we can use this trick in the weekly storyline and also in the daily storyline, all right? And also in the monthly storyline. So if you don't have any fresh level that the candle rejected from, just check if there is a trend line that the price rejected from, all right? So let's practice this on this example. So in this example, we had this bullish break and retest trend line, all right? And our candle touches our fresh weekly right here, all right? Touches our weekly trend line right here, all right? So let's put our vertical line and then switch to the 4-hour time frame for our bullish breakout. In this example, what do we have here? We have an internal breakout under the trend line, all right? So you can take this as a bullish breakout for a bullish weekly storyline, or you can take this also like a bullish for our breakout for a bullish weekly storyline, all right? So by this for our internal breakout or this breakout, you can say we had a bullish weekly storyline, all right? A bullish weekly storyline started from this weekly trend line, all right? But if you don't know this trick or you don't use this advanced storyline, you will not have the advantage to take this move from here, right? You will not take the advantage to take this move right here, and maybe you will wait until this fresh weekly level right here and the price never reaches, all right? Because we had here a weekly reject weekly and then we had a bearish weekly storyline from here, and you said and as we learned, we said always the weekly storyline started from a fresh level and ends on another weekly fresh level. In this case, you will wait until the price reaches this fresh level, all right? But here why you can take the advantage by using the weekly by using the advanced storyline. All right, this is just a glimpse from the advanced storyline, and you need to mix it with the classic storyline for a better result. And also you can use the advanced storyline only. All right, but for now just I am giving you the glimpse from it for a better result in your trading. All right, so here the weekly bullish storyline started on this bullish break and retest trend line, all right? But there is now a fresh weekly level right here. The price will react it from, or this bullish weekly storyline will end, all right? Here also you can use the advanced storyline, all right? Here you can use the advanced storyline. For example, we had this reversal weekly bearish trend line, all right? This is our first point, the second point, and the third point, it's right here, all right? So let's put our vertical line on this touch and then check the 4-hour time frame for a bearish breakout, all right? For a bearish breakout. So the weekly touches our first level right here. And what do we have here? We have this bearish 4-hour breakout. Now, the bearish weekly storyline ends on this trend line. So the bullish weekly storyline that started here ends on this bearish reversal weekly trend line, all right? And the bearish weekly storyline started on this trend line also, all right, by this 4-hour breakout. All right, now let's see where this bearish weekly storyline will end. Let's go back to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, you can take this weekly reject weekly as an ending of this bearish weekly storyline. All right, you can take this because here we have a bullish weekly storyline by a 4-hour breakout. As you can see, the price touches our fresh level right here, and we had our 4-hour bullish breakout right here. All right, now this bearish weekly storyline started from here and ends on this fresh weekly SNR level, right? This how you can mix the advanced storyline with the classic storyline, right? There is a lot of examples when you don't have any fresh weekly levels, but the storyline started on the trend lines, right? The storyline starts on the trend lines. For example, when you take this bearish weekly storyline from here, all right, and your TP, as we said, it's right here. In this case, you can also use this weekly trend line as a first TP from here, all right? So if you take your trades from here, the first TP, it's this weekly trend line, all right? And how you can know if this trend line will end the bearish storyline or not? It's just by the 4-hour breakout. If you don't have any 4-hour breakout, any 4-hour bullish breakout, then you can hold this bearish weekly storyline until this fresh weekly level. But we had a 4-hour bullish breakout right here. So this bearish weekly storyline ends here, and from here you can take a buy trades based on this bullish weekly advanced storyline until where? Until this bearish reversal weekly trend line, all right, until this bearish weekly reversal trend line. There is another example I will show you. All right, for example, what is this? This is, let's excuse me, all right, let's do this. All right, for example, what do we have here? We have this bearish weekly reversal trend line, all right? This bearish weekly reversal trend line. And also, what do we have here? We have this weekly reject weekly, all right? And let's put our vertical line first for the classic storyline, as usual, all right? Let's check the 4-hour time frame. In the 4-hour time frame, our weekly touches our fresh level right here, all right? And there is no bearish breakout right here because the last A shape that created, the last V shape that created before the touch, it's this V shape level, all right? So, but as you can see, the price didn't break this level, and it's still continue up, all right? In this case, you can use the advanced storyline for an early entry before this breakout. Let's see what the price did, all right? If you use the classic storyline itself, you will wait all this time until you have your bearish your bearish 4-hour breakout for a bearish weekly storyline, all right? But if you use the advanced storyline, all right? If you use the advanced storyline from here, all right? The third touch, the third touch on our bearish reversal trend line weekly, it's right here. So let's put our vertical line and check the 4-hour time frame for a bearish breakout. As you can see, the weekly touches our fresh level right. The weekly touches our bearish reversal trend line right here, and as we can say, and as we said, the internal breakout, it's valid for the advanced storyline, all right? Now, by this bearish 4-hour breakout, the bearish weekly storyline started on this trend line, all right? And you can take an early entries from these zones by our confirmations or our, as we learned, all right, in the videos. For example, you can take your trades from this 4-hour gap or from this 4-hour apex, because we said the 4-hour apex that have a CC candle, it's valid for the entry, all right? It doesn't matter. It's not a very about the entries. It's just about the direction, all right? So your first entry, it's from here, all right? It's from here until where? Until the next fresh weekly level that here, or the next weekly trend line, all right? Or the next weekly trend line that end right here. So here, by this 4-hour breakout after your first entry, by this 4-hour breakout, you will look for another chance for another sell trades, all right? So maybe you have this KM, all right? Maybe you have this KM, maybe you have another levels with another confirmations, and you will take another entry. Let's see where the price did, all right? All right, the price didn't give us our confirmation right here, and it goes right here, all right? Goes right here from our levels, and we can check the 1-hour time frame and also the daily storyline that inside the weekly MTF classic storyline, as we learned, all right? This is not a very about the entries, it's about the direction, all right? So this was the second example from the storyline, all right? From the advanced storyline. Let's what you can see right here. Do you see this example right here that we saw? All right, there is another example. It's the same with this. There is no fresh weekly that this candle rejected from, all right? But if you look good, you will see this outer bullish trend line, all right? This outer bullish trend line. And here we had our bullish weekly storyline, bullish advanced weekly storyline that started from no fresh level, but it started from this bullish outer weekly trend line. All right, if you put your vertical line on this touch and switch to the 4-hour time frame, you will have your bullish breakout for a bullish weekly storyline. All right, as we said, the internal breakouts, it's valid when we use the advanced storyline. And if you don't like this 4-hour breakout, you can wait until this breakout, all right, until this 4-hour breakout, all right. Now, by this 4-hour breakout on the daily time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, the weekly storyline started from this bullish outer weekly trend line, all right. And here you can mix also the classic storyline with this example. Why? Because we had another what? We had another weekly reject, weekly right here, right? A weekly reject, weekly right here. So let's put our vertical line and then switch to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the last A shape that created before the touch, it's right here, right? This is the last A shape that created before the touch. So our first entry, our first confirmation for our bullish advanced weekly storyline started from this weekly outer trend line. And we had a weekly reject weekly right here, and we had another bullish breakout. So the weekly bullish storyline, it's confirmed, all right, and it's have a higher probability that the price will continue up until another fresh levels right here or a fresh weekly level right here. So if you use the advanced storyline itself, you will have this the weekly storyline started from here, right, and where and right here, right. So you can take all these moves, or you can check another weekly trend lines right here, right. You can do whatever you want with this advanced trick from the advanced storyline and also the classic storyline. All right, it's the same with the daily storyline. When you don't have any daily fresh level that the candle rejected from, you can use this technique with it. All right, so let's remove this. I don't want to remove. Let's remove it. Something. No. Let's let's say another example on the daily time frame when we don't have any fresh level that uh, the price rejected from, right? That is some example. All right. All right. Do you see this content right here? There is no fresh daily level right here that this content rejected from, right? But if you use this bearish reversal daily trend line right here, right? You can take it as a bearish daily storyline. So let's put our vertical line on this touch and use the 1-hour time frame for the breakout with the daily storyline, right? So as you can see, there is no last A shape that created before the touch until this. This is the last A shape that created before the touch, all right? And so by this bearish 1-hour breakout, the bearish daily storyline started from this weekly trend line, all right? And you will take the advantage to take an early entries for this direction, all right? And this example, it's a complicated, right? This example is complicated. It's a complicated. There is a lot of examples very clear, right? Like the weekly examples. So this was today's video. It's something very special that I want to share with you. So take care, guys, and see you in another videos.